in Title IX. Well, then the debate moved from policy to the hardwood Saturday night. So
8 minutes. That's how long it took DeJonai Carrington to turn a flagrant 2 foul into a national argument about race in the WNBA, and it hasn't stopped since. And here's who hasn't said a word about any of it: LeBron James. LeBron James has spent 2 years in Caitlin Clark's corner. Back in May 2024, 1 week into her rookie season, he said it plainly on his Mind the Game podcast. "I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before."
How did you go through that at a young age?
So here's the question worth asking before this goes any further. On DeJonai Carrington's flagrant foul, on the ejection, on the white privilege post that followed LeBron James has said nothing. Not a story, not a post, not a word. For a guy who's shown up for Caitlin Clark over far smaller moments than this, that silence is worth sitting with. Cunningham hits the floor hard, unable to break her fall, as the shot somehow still drops through the net. Officials call it live as a flagrant one. The play goes to review. On the monitor, officials look for 3 things: wind-up, contact, and follow-through, and rule that all 3 are present. The call gets upgraded to a flagrant 2. DeJonai Carrington is ejected from the game in the first quarter.
Defensive foul on DeJonai Carrington has been upgraded to a flagrant foul, penalty 2. Since there's wind-up.
On its own, that's a hard foul story, a one-day headline. The kind of play sports shows argue about for an afternoon and move past by the weekend. It did not stay a one-day story. Minutes after her ejection, while Cunningham was still being looked at on the sideline, Carrington posted white privilege on Threads and tagged the Indiana Fever directly. She followed it with a second post reading 8/23, the date of the next matchup between these 2 teams in Chicago.
I would actually say that this is black privilege, to be totally honest with you, because her posting this white racist comment right after assaulting Sophie Cunningham on the court is actually black privilege. But
2 posts, 8 minutes apart from the ejection, and that's the moment this stopped being a basketball story. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now because we're covering every angle of this story until the WNBA does what it has to do. Sophie Cunningham did not let this go quietly. Asked after the game whether she thought the foul was intentional, her answer was direct: "Yes, I guess she has some pent-up stuff," Cunningham said.
no.
And apparently was like really good. A standout safety in the NFL who played in 2, not 1, but 2 Super Bowls during his 8.
She also made a point reporters picked up on immediately. She had been ejected herself a year earlier for a hard foul of her own on Connecticut Sun guard J.C. Sheldon. She took that punishment without turning it into a statement about anyone's race. That comparison is the exact frame Cunningham chose, and it's the frame that's driven most of the reaction since. Carrington's version has been consistent from the start. Speaking to reporters on Monday, August 10th, she said this is simply how she plays defense. A basketball play, not a message. It's just who I am, Carrington said. Sky head coach Tyler Marsh backed her publicly the same day, framing the contact as unfortunate rather than intentional. That's who she is. She's passionate, hard-nosed, Marsh told reporters.
And then she put both hands up right after. DJ's not doing.
So a coach is going on record for his player 2 days after a flagrant 2 ejection, not nothing, in a league where coaches usually let these moments cool off first. Here's the problem with "that's just how I play." This is not Carrington's first time explaining a hard, controversial play to a room full of reporters. In September 2024, in the WNBA playoffs, Carrington's hand caught then-rookie Caitlin Clark in the eye on a deflection attempt, leaving Clark with a black eye. No foul was called on that play at all. Asked about it days later, Carrington gave almost the identical explanation she's giving now. "I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye," she said, back in September 2024.
Circling back on the play with your eye, what would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional and maybe even warrants a suspension?
It wasn't intentional by any means.
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me, but no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and...
To her credit, Clark herself said publicly at the time that she didn't believe it was intentional. It's worth saying plainly, none of this proves intent in the Cunningham play. A pattern of hard, controversial contact isn't the same as a pattern of malice, and Carrington has real, on-record defenders every time this comes up. But two separate incidents, 2 seasons apart, against 2 different Fever players is exactly the kind of pattern a league office is supposed to be tracking. Subscribe right now if you want to keep hearing this said out loud. A like on this video tells the algorithm to put it in front of every basketball fan who needs to see this. The loudest pushback on the white privilege post didn't come from a fan account, it came from former NFL player and sports analyst Emmanuel Acho on his show Speakeasy 2 days after the ejection. Acho argued the call was straightforward by the rulebook and that using that specific phrase for it emptied the term of its actual meaning. It was just very ignorant and to some degree asinine, Acho said.
We have to talk about some news out of the W. DeJonai Carrington responded to the show.
Carrington didn't let that sit either. She responded directly on X, denying she had ever said the officiating call itself was about race. Try exercising your critical thinking skills, she wrote back.
Hold up, before you go, I'm on her side. and everything she said.
Winning on the bench with the Toronto Raptors back in 2019, been a player development guy, then assistant coach, now as a head coach, trying to figure.
Whatever you think about the post, the incident did not hurt her visibility. If anything, it did the opposite. Meanwhile, the organization actually responsible for governing all of this has said nothing. As of this recording, the WNBA has not announced a suspension, a fine, or any public statement addressing the white privilege post directly. The league reviewed the foul itself frame by frame and got that call right. On the conduct that followed it, there's been total silence. That's the real story here. Not one flagrant foul, not one deleted post. A league that will freeze a broadcast to get a foul call exactly right, and then say absolutely nothing when the conversation turns to what a player does with the platform that foul call hands her. Drop your answer in the comments. We want to hear from you. Every single comment shapes what we cover next. Does DeJonai Carrington's history Clark in 2024 Cunningham now change how you read the white privilege post? Or is the WNBA's silence the bigger problem here? And when these two teams meet again on August 23rd, does the league finally have to say something?